Welcome to episode 3 of the All Things Nothing podcast. How's everybody's week's been going? How's everybody doing? Crazy weather's been up and down. It's been sunny, really hot last week actually, and then it just started to rain nonstop and be cold. So that's fun. But let's see, we're headed into Memorial Day weekend. If you guys didn't know, kind of crazy. But yeah, how's you guys' week's been? How's everything been going? How you guys holding up? Hopefully you're holding up well. You're out there grinding, and if you're working, you're grinding and you're working away. That's great. Yeah, but the whole last week has just been sort of a continuation of being inside and working and grinding away. Let's see, I've jumped on a 30-day workout plan. It's for sure going to go more than that. But yeah, I've been working on a 30-day workout plan. Let's see, I'm technically just finished up week or month 1 of a 30-day, and I'm starting another one. But man, that first month I did like a 30-day workout plan on like a hard 1 difficulty, and the first couple workouts were great. They were like 10 to 15 minutes long. I know that's not very long. And then as the weeks progressed, they started getting more and more difficult. I mean, it is hard one, so it's to be expected. But I didn't think that they would get to where they were or where they went to. I mean, 10 to 15 minutes, kind of like a nice beginner level. Honestly, trying to go for the 25 to 30 minute. You get your blood pressure up, you get a workout in, you get sweating a little bit, and that's kind of like where at least I would want to be. And we did get there, which was great. And I mean, 25, 30 minutes, it's no really weights involved. It's just your body weight and moving it around. Push-ups, lunges, squats, jumping squats, just a lot of that. But let's see, it went weeks 2 and 3 were like a nice perfect, like they went from like being 17 to 25 minutes long, and then the week 3 was getting up there between like 25 to 30 minutes long, and then week 4 rolled around and it just ballooned a lot. We went from doing essentially like probably 20 to 30 like lunges to 40 to 45 lunges every day. Not even that, I wouldn't even say that. It went from, the 30-minute like nice cush time to 45 to an hour long workouts. The whole like last 7 days were all 45 to 60 minutes long. Especially like the last day was like over an hour long workout, which I'm not opposed to, but when I'm just trying to get like a nice workout in, stay in shape during this time when gyms are closed and everything's closed down, nothing wrong with an hour long workout, but it went on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. But these workouts were good. They were fantastic. But though the 44 was just a pure nightmare. It was, do 40 left lunges and then take a 30-second break. Do 40 right lunges, then take a 30-second break. Then you'd go to running in place for 30 seconds, which is not hard. And then you'd go to left lunge knee hops. So if you don't know, that's taking a lunge and then bringing that knee forward and hopping. So you do the left side, 40 reps, then the right side, 40 reps. Then you run in place. And then after that, you would do 35 jumping squats. If that doesn't sound like your legs are burning or falling off at that point, let me know. There was about 23 different workouts or different exercises in that hour-long session, and those are just a few of them. I mean, you got planks. It was a full body, so you get planks and push-ups in between, and which wasn't too hard, but the legs definitely got to me after a certain amount of time. Yeah, they were so hard. So, but I just started up a new one. I went to a full body workout, which I dropped it down to easy 2. I don't know. Give me a second as I explain myself. But easy 2 full body workout, and I added on another 30-day. There's multiple options for this app. You can do a full body, you can do legs, you can do abs, upper body. They've got like a 5 or 6 different topics that you can choose from. So, but I am combining 2 together. So I'm doing a full body workout now on easy 2 difficulty. There's easy 1, easy 2, medium 1, medium 2, and then hard 1 and hard 2. So I already did the hard one, and now I'm going to go to easy 2. But I am adding in abs along with that and doing a medium 1 there. So I'm excited there. I did the first workout yesterday on easy 1, and it's like 3 to 5 minutes, and it was a little bit too cheese mode for me, because it was like 30 seconds of jumping jacks, 4 push-ups, let's see, 10 sit-ups and something else. I mean, I know it's supposed to be easy 2, and I know they'll ramp up eventually, but I'm sort of excited to see where it goes. Abs medium 1 was actually pretty difficult. It was like 100 to 200 like sit-ups on just medium 1, so, and like a 25, 30 second plank, so, which I'm kind of excited to get to. But I'm out here trying to work out, not trying to flex on anybody, but out here just at least trying to keep in shape and keep my body moving. So what are you guys doing? Are you guys working out? Are you guys doing anything? Let me know. But yeah, let's get into some news that happened this week. Let's see, Civ 6 is free on the Epic Store right now, which is crazy. Let's see, Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2 just released on Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass, I mean, I'm a little bit biased towards Xbox because that's what I play on. I also play it on because it's where all of my friends play on. But Xbox Game Pass has been a unique tool and one of the best tools for just gaming. They've released some good hits like Forza Horizon 4 if you like racing games. They've also released like Gears 5. They have the whole Halo collection on there. If you enjoy gaming and you're out here, like that's a pretty must-have feature I would recommend having. So, not sponsored, by the way. Just letting you guys know. But I can't wait to. I didn't play Red Dead Redemption 1. Don't shoot me. But I am excited to play Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, it's been a few years and I've caught up on the story. So, but that should be fun. And another unique one that kind of came out on Monday night was golf with your friends. It's just a mini putt game, but dang, that game is tough. Like, it's just a mini putt game, but man, we were having a lot of fun with that mode, with that game. And there's like a ton of modes, and so if it's like 4 gigabytes, if you have Xbox and you're out there, get that. I would highly recommend playing that. It's a fun party game to play, and you can play up to 12 players, and you can play what they call. There's like the classic mode, which, everybody golfs at the same time. So everybody finishes the hole. You have 2 minutes to finish the hole. But it's like kind of ghost golf balls. So you have free reign to go. You can see what everybody else is golfing or what everybody else did, but your balls don't interact with each other. But in hockey mode, apparently, that's like golf IRL. So you all putt at the same time. All 12 individuals, or if you have up to 12, but individuals can putt all at the same time, and if you hit another individual's ball, it'll go off. So there's some definitely shenanigans and goofs that can happen there, which I'm excited for. Let's see, the other big news for this week, at least today, the video game awards. It's this monthly year or annual thing that happens with Jeff Kingley, and it happens usually in May. But with everything going on, they can't have events right now. But with everything going on, they've been doing showcases every day for the most part, or different showcases with different developers. Like they had the Xbox on recently. They've had a summer game. There's Game Fest going on, which is pretty cool, and a bunch of other fun sort of events going on. Most recently, though, this morning, they had Valorant devs on, and they talked about. If you don't know what Valorant is, it's Riot's. Riot is the makers of League of Legends, primarily. They're like the biggest one right now. That's like their big game, and they've come out with others recently. Teamfight Tactics, our shorter acronym is TFT, and they've come out with Runeterra, which is a card game, kind of like Hearthstone, if you've heard of that before. I have never really played LoL or Runeterra or TFT. I dabble in TFT because my friends play it, but I don't know what I'm doing. But I'm out there just playing with my friends. But Valorant is their new game, sort of 5v5 shooter, sort of similar to CSGO. One-shot, headshot kills, unique buying and purchasing system. Different. One thing how they different though is they have operators, and each operator has certain abilities, and those abilities do different things, and can sway the tide of battle, both on offense and defense. It's first to 13, and do have a halftime, which is at 6 games apiece. So yeah. I think it's a little bit more than that. But there's a halftime, and then you switch sides from offense to defense, or likewise defense to offense. But it is sort of their new game. And I've played with my friends, and I enjoy it. It's fun. I don't really ever play PC FPS shooters. I like the controller. That's my jam. That's where I thrive the best. But I have been enjoying it and playing it, and it's unique gameplay. But this morning, as I was saying, with the Video Game Awards, the devs came on, and they officially announced June 2nd as the release date for Valorant. Currently, Valorant right now is in Battle Pass, or is in beta mode, and in order to get a pass, it's they came live. I think in the beginning of April, you had to watch certain streamers in order to get a beta code, and that beta code would then give you access, or it would give you access to the beta. But you had to watch hours and hours, and it led to just people just sitting there watching different streamers. And then I think a week or two later, and then some lucky individuals got it, and then a week or two later, they opened it up to anybody who had a Valorant key could get drops for their viewers. And so that opened up the door to other people just streaming nonstop and getting those codes. So luckily I was able to nab a code a little bit later than most of my friends, but I was able to get it finally. Took a little bit. But yeah, they officially released their actual release date for June 2nd. And they're releasing, with that June 2nd release, I think the beta is officially ending May 28th. They're releasing it June 2nd. There's going to be a battle pass. There's going to be a new map. There's going to be a new mode and a new agent. Originally, they stated that there's going to be 12 new agents, or at least 12 agents upon the official release date, but there will only be 11 at release date. So the attackers or defenders, they haven't really stated, will have one extra defender / attacker. I mean, there's not any difference between a defender or attacker, but there will be one extra agent. Sorry, I'm in the Siege mindset where there's defenders and attackers. So where this one's just you choose your operator for the whole match. They didn't describe the new map. The new map was in the CGA trailer. They did say that the new mode is going to be sort of a shorter session, and it's not team deathmatch, but it is going to be a shorter session, and it's sort of meant for that in between unranked gameplay, which is like up to 13 games or more. You're probably playing minimum like 20 games in that, and it's they definitely can get sweaty, and especially with ranked, you're getting sweaty there. And this new mode is supposedly a shorter session, Not as sweaty, but also not TDM. So kind of looking forward to what that means. But yeah, are you excited? What are you excited about the battle pass? Are you excited about the new mode? This could be fun. They haven't released any details on the battle pass, what it is. They did say that the new content, the new skins for the guns, if you're liking what the skins are right now, they said that you're going to be pretty excited when the new skins drop on June 2nd. But yeah, there's sort of all your information as far as June 2nd comes down, but that should be a lot of fun. Anyway, switching topics. Let's see, a little bit of news to recap. I've got some little bit of dramatic news or drama news essentially, and then in my second topic, I'm just gonna finish off with some sports news and go from there. So let's see. Topic one, of course, is sort of the big trending topic right now. If you don't watch YouTube, you probably don't know. Or if you haven't heard, even if you watched YouTube, this is, small sort of audience that you may have heard. But H3H3 versus Keemstar drama is going on right now. Let's see. On Tuesday, H3H3 dropped their video entitled Content Nuke Keemstar. So, and they essentially released a 45-minute highlight reel of Keemstar's not so good highlight reel, essentially. And they stated in their video that they had worked on this whole video for like the last 30 minutes. Or for like the last, not 30 minutes, the last 30 months. 30 months. Oh, man. For the last 30 days, last month. So, which is crazy. H3, if you don't know, they primarily were YouTubers from before Ethan and Hela Klein. And they made a lot of videos. And that's kind of like where they came from. They would make goofcaf videos. They would meme on people. They would call people out every now and then. Sort of like a, content, sort of like a vigilante content things, people out there calling out on people and doing other stuff and memeing stuff and, stealing people's stuff, and they, if they weren't getting called out for it, and they would do their due diligence and research and would call those people out. So it is sort of vigilante justice, but it also nobody was calling them out for, those people that were stealing content. But primarily, especially when they lived on the East Coast, they were primarily YouTubers, and that's kind of where they went. They made good videos. Some videos were not so good, but yeah. Then they moved to the West Coast, and they started a family and everything, and for sure know about that. And they stopped making YouTube videos, or it became very less infrequent, which is sort of a bummer. Just because their videos were good. But they did start a podcast. And their podcast I haven't really listened to. I've listened to a few episodes, and I guess this first couple episodes were a little bit tough. I guarantee my first couple episodes are not that good, and that I hope to refine it. But I wouldn't say that I tune in all the time, but I definitely would like to. But the times that I have, it gets tough to listen to. But during this whole COVID-19 thing, they started making videos again, and they've made some good videos, and it just shows how good content creators they are. As far as YouTuber come up, and a lot of their content is sort of dramatic, calling out individuals, which is, sort of cringe, and can be very controversial at times. Keemstar, he runs his daily news site, The Drama Alert. He has other partnerships with like COD. He has a big Wednesday, Warzone Wednesday. He had Fortnite Fridays for a long time, and it's doing a lot of stuff with content creators, which is great to see. It's so nice to see those content creators all playing a game on either Wednesday or Friday, winning for prizes, and just their sweaty gameplay. But yeah, H3H3 and Keemstar haven't ever got along together. Keemstar has called out H3 for being liars, for not, for lying to their followers. Lying to the followers, and H3H3 essentially had enough, and they wanted to call him out. And they've actually had him on this podcast before, and we seemingly had thought that they were going to be friends, but that was unfortunately not the case. As you see, in pretty much H3H3 / Ethan pretty much just called him out and ran this 45-minute highlight reel of not being cool. And multiple times during this video, he calls out his sponsor during this video, which, when I was watching it, I was kind of like, okay, like, I see what you're doing, like, just calling out because it's there, but at the same time, it was like, I don't know if you need to actually be calling out a sponsor, because it kind of sounds like you're attacking the sponsor for sponsoring him as an individual. And I mean, it's in pretty much every one of his videos, but he's also sponsored by the individual. So, but yeah, I guess you don't need to go after it. You don't need to be mentioning that anyway. So, because it's not part of the case. But that's sort of where like the big controversy is. Like the 45-minute video of this person's highlight reel of like not so good highlight is, it's from the past. Everybody knows, that he doesn't have good highlights. Everybody's got a dark past, and unfortunately his is pretty much all public because he's primarily a YouTuber. Same with H3H3, they're in the same boat, really. So, but the really big controversy that comes from this is attacking somebody's sponsors, and like what that is. Are you, and there was an update later where Keem actually released his own video stating that he had called G Fuel his sponsor himself and decided to sort of walk away, or at least put the relationship on hiatus until this blows over, just because they were getting added so much and so much controversy. It was such a nightmare. But this opens up a lot of dangerous precedent for attacking other sponsors. I mean, if you're going to release content, at least release it for the person, and then have those people's, those sponsors need to decide for themselves if that's somebody that they want to invest in or whatnot. As far as bringing in an audience, there's so many people. His videos easily have a ton of views on them, and the same with H3H3. So, that's kind of like the biggest controversy is you calling out people's sponsors, calling out somebody's sort of money bank, especially for content creators, because like that's kind of like their money hole, is where all that comes from. So, what side are you on? Do you think that, if you're a bad person's being called out, that their sponsor should also be called out for this or not? I don't think so. I think if you're going to make a content video on somebody, you should just be calling out the individual for, sort of the not so good things that they've done. But also, I don't know if I even make a video like that, like a puff piece on how bad somebody is. So, but yeah, that's the biggest YouTube drama that's going on, and still going on. I think Keemstar's second video, part 2, is coming out, covering. He covered one person's sort of a main topic, and he's addressing the rest of the video in his part 2. So that's going to come in, and I'll probably for sure watch that and see what that's about. But yeah. Crazy YouTube drama. Definitely not the highlights. There's other fun stuff out there for sure. Let's see, topic 2. Let's get right into it. Let's see, UFC fights. That's sort of the major sport that's gone along. If you watch John Oliver tonight, they sponsored Marble Olympics, and there's a YouTube called Marble Olympics. I don't know if it's actually the name YouTube or Marble Olympics, but they sponsored that, and it's I started following them in like 2018 when they were running it, and it's literally just marbles, and they go through sort of different activities like a high jump and racing, and you should definitely go check it out. It is hilarious, and it's probably one of my most fun things. Another fun thing that I've gotten into as well is sort of it's car racing, but it's like Hot Wheel car racing. People have like designed like these intricate sort of short style like downhill slopes, and they've like decorated the whole hill, and it's like 3D bot making runs it, and they are hilarious. They commentate on this, and they actually just run it real, and they let the cars go and do their thing, and they've got timers, and they've got slow-mo cameras, and it's just a really good production base. But yeah, go find those out if you're not into sort of UFC fighting, and if you're waiting for sports to really get back into session. But yeah, let's recap these UFC fights, because there was 3 of them. Back to back, pretty much. Saturday, Wednesday, and then another one on Saturday that happened. Let's see. We start off with UFC 249. UFC 249 was Ferguson versus Gaethje for the interim lightweight championship, and then you saw the co-main event be Henry Cejudo versus Dominic Cruz for the strawweight championship as well. All 3 of these events were pretty much delayed. Not even the events, but those events and different fights were all sort of delayed due to COVID. So Jacksonville, Florida opened up, and UFC sort of got this arena for like the whole week. They pretty much rented it out and everything like that, and were able to put on 3 events during this time. But yeah. Let's get into the main card, as that's pretty much the only thing that I'll cover for these recaps. Any other big name fighters for the prelim and early prelim cards, I'll kind of cover a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to recap all of that. So I'll start from the bottom and then work my way to the top. Let's see, early prelims, not really anybody. Preliminary cards. You had Vincent De Luc defeat Nico Price. Vincent De Luc is a welterweight and moved up from, he's actually moved up from lightweight where he was fighting. Carlos Esparza defeated Michelle Watterson by decision. Alexei Olenek defeated Fabricio Verdum, who was returning from a 2-year ban for using a banned substance by decision. Anthony Pettis defeated Dylan Cerrone by decision as well. So those are really big names, or have fought for championships in the past, or have held championships in the past. But sort of a lot of those decisions were, at least the Cerrone and Pettis one was a very controversial back and forth one. Let's see, in the heavyweight division on the main card, we saw Greg Hardy take on Yorgan De Castro. Round 1, Greg Hardy's leg was black and blue and just super beat up, and it did not look like it was going to go his way at all. It looked very nightmarish, but Greg put on a very good plan. He put together a good fighting plan, and he just made the adjustments where he needed to, and he started checking those kicks where he was getting kicked, and he actually ended up hurting the other person's leg, or that person hurt his leg kicking the other person's leg, Greg's leg, and Greg actually ended up winning by decision. So I think I called that one in my previous podcast, but I wanted to go with Greg Hardy in there. And then we saw Calvin Kattar versus fight Jeremy Stephens. Both are insanely good fighters. Calvin Kattar, sort of a dark horse of the division, but he defeated Jeremy Stephens in the second round by TKO. And then the top 3 fights, we saw some heavyweights fight, Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, and Rozenstruik has just been knocking dudes out left and right, which is insane. And he fought Ngannou, and Ngannou, they were essentially touched gloves and fought, and it was over within 20 seconds. UFC usually does a highlight reel afterwards of, like, they didn't even put that in the highlight reel because it was such a fast fight. It was insane. But that Ngannou stopped him. It stopped him so fast in 20 seconds and ended that train's steam run. Let's see, in the co-main event, Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz for the championship fight. Henry Cejudo and Dominick Cruz put on a good fight back and forth. Dominic had his moments, Henry had his moments, but at the end of the second round, Henry did TKO Dominick Cruz and land knees and punches. He landed a great knee, and then Dominic sort of came over, and they're so fast, those bantamweights, and he unleashed 14 unanswered strikes, and like it kind of looks like he's just peppering him with shots. Like it just looks like you just punch somebody like 14 times as fast as you could, like not even with like full power, just like trying to like just hit them as many times as you could in like a 3-second time. And it was insane. It looked early, but it was definitely not. And Cejudo continues his reign. And the funny thing after is he decided to announce that he was going to retire from UFC. He's conquered, and he is going to see everyone later. I.e., I want more money, Dana White. Please give me more money. I am not going to fight until I get more money, is pretty much what it is. So they said, and like his management and him said that, he's going to retire from the UFC and that's it. But they just want some more money because he thinks that he's the top, one of the best pound for pound fighters, one of the best, money fighters out there, and he wants that cash. So we'll see kind of what happens from there. But I think that Henry needs maybe a few more wins because 3 title wins is good against high level opponents. But I mean, you think you need a few more. And then the main event, Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson hadn't lost in 8 to 9 years and was the winningest fighter going into this fight. Unfortunately, he didn't have much of a game plan, as most of his game plan was spent training for Khabib, who unfortunately couldn't leave Russia due to COVID-19. And apparently they didn't wrestle. They didn't wrestle at all. Justin Gaethje put together a fantastic game plan and pretty much boxed and out-kickboxed Tony Ferguson for 5 rounds. I mean, Tony Ferguson landed a killer uppercut in the end of the second round that just wobbled Justin, which was a nightmare. But Justin came back composed, came back with a game plan, and continued to box and do smart boxing, not really get into grappling exchanges, and ended up stopping him in the 5th round at 3 minutes and 39 seconds. And he is now the new interim champion, which is crazy. I mean, he kind of sort of came out of left field. He was there. He had won some very good fights, but now he is the interim champion, and Tony Ferguson sort of suffers his first loss. But yeah, that was a crazy fight. Let's see, going on to the next card for the Wednesday, and congrats to Justin. He was super dangerous. He's such a dangerous fighter. You don't want to fight him. He just goes all out every time. And if you stop him, you stop him, and that's it. But otherwise, he's laying everything out on his shield. So he's coming out with you with everything in the kitchen sink, and that's pretty much what you have to deal with. He's either gonna get punched and knocked out, or submitted, or he's gonna knock you out. That's how he rolls. So congrats to him on being the interim champion. I wish well to Tony and hope that he could come back and that we can actually get the Tony versus Khabib match that we've ever so wanted after maybe the 7th scheduling of this event will actually come to fruition, but we'll see. So the next event was on Wednesday, the UFC Fight Night versus Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. Let's see the prelim card. Not too many people. We did see Sijara Eubanks, and I think Sijara Eubanks was the original. She won. Yeah, she was supposed to fight on the TUF 26 finale versus Nico Montagna, but she was pulled from the fight when she was cutting weight for kidney failure, and unfortunately. So she was supposed to be in the TUF finale and fight, and I'm glad to see that she's back. She's had a few fights now back. She's had some really tough fights. She beat Roxanne Modafferi. She lost to Aspen Ladd, lost to Beth Correa, and then beat Sarah Moraz. So she's back on this card. And it's good to see her back in. And she ended up picking up the victory over Sarah. And then to the main card, Thiago Moises versus Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's a very good lightweight fighter, but he lost to some submission. He looked phenomenal for 5 minutes and then made a mistake and then got submitted. That's how the game goes. Heavyweights, Andrei Arlovsky defeated Philip Lenz. Andrei Arlovsky, a big name in the heavyweight division. Bantamweight division, Ricky Simon defeated Frey Borg in a split decision. Very controversial decision. A couple lightweights were on the card. Drew Doper versus Alex Hernandez. Drew Doper defeated him by TKO. We saw Ben Rothwell also return after a 2-year hiatus for being banned due to usage of a banned substance. And he fought Ovesne Peru, who was his first fight at heavyweight. He won by split decision. And then the main event was Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith. Glover defeated Anthony Smith in round 5 and a minute 4. This is sort of a controversial fight. I mean, Anthony Smith just recently fought John Jones for, I mean, that's kind of his most recent highlight fight, but he fought John Jones for the light heavyweight championship. Unfortunately, he lost to decision. He did fight Alexander Gustafsson in his next fight, and he submitted him with a rear naked choke. And then he fought Glover Teixeira, and Glover Teixeira turned 40 on that day as well. But it was quite the fight. Glover pretty much put in a boxing clinic and outboxed him and outstruck him for 5 rounds. And I think in rounds 3 or 4, it was just a pure nightmare where he was essentially just punching him, and Glover and Anthony didn't have anything to return. And in between rounds, he even was just like, "Hey, my teeth are falling out." You can go look at the clip. It was pretty shocking. It's just like, so this one is like, should the corner have stopped it? Should they have jumped in? Like, hey, if you hear that, you need to protect your fighter. Like, there's no reason to go out there and take more damage and do anything, but you need to be smart. But I mean, these guys at these high level are fighters. They're going to go out on the shield. And we've seen time and time again where, someone's absolutely getting crushed, and they'll come out and they'll just, land the perfect punch or the perfect kick, or they'll get into a submission where they win the fight, and it's just like, whoa, that's great. That's the greatest comeback of all time. I mean, it happens, but there's also more times than not, this happens where a fighter's getting dominated and will just continue to getting more dominated and just taking damage. That's pretty much what happened. Glover pretty much TKO'd him within the first minute of round 5. Controversial or not, Glover wins. Becomes like the second fighter to win a fight in 4 different decades, along with Alexei Olenek. But yeah, good fight there. Congrats, hats off to Teixeira, and hats off recovery, and wish you well to Anthony Smith. Next fight was Saturday, no title fight, but yeah, let's see, preliminary card. You have Darren the Damage Elkins. He's just known for going all out, and he has so much scar tissue built up that he gets poked in his face and starts bleeding, and that was pretty much a bloody warfare back and forth that saw him lose. And he literally has the word damage across his chest. I mean, I'm not going to fight him because I'll for sure lose, but that was a crazy back and forth fight. Few of the people you saw, Matt Brown fight. Unfortunately, he lost to TKO in the beginning of the second round. And then to the main card, You won't know now. Let's see. I'm pretty much going to cover. You saw Edson Barbosa. Normally fights at lightweight. He dropped down to 145 pounds to featherweight and lost his fight to decision. Both of the top 3 decisions were just this nightmarish. Like, could have gone either way. Like, it's just tough. That should have been a draw. Let's see. In the co-main event, you saw Claudia Gadelha, who's has fought in the past for titles, versus Angela Hill, who's just on a tear of a streak. Claudia Gadelha defeated Angela Hill by split decision, but that fight definitely seemed like it was Angela winning that fight, which was insane. And a lot of people scored it for Angela. So we'll see what happens there, but it was pretty one-sided, and then she got the nod for split decision. So, yeah, that was a crazy fight. And in the heavyweight, you saw Alistair Overeem come back and fight Walt Harris. Unfortunately, he has some family stuff that happened earlier / last year where, someone saw they kidnapped his daughter, and then unfortunately she passed away, and he had this dream that this was his time to return. He came back and to return, and he just has this heartwarming story, and then this sad story of his family. So he made his return to heavyweight. Walt Harris is a good guy, and he's just a good fighter as well. Came back and fought Overeem, and Overeem is Overeem. He is very good, and he defeated Walt Harris in the second round in 3 minutes. So it's probably one of the most times I've seen Overeem be. He's a super respectful guy, and he's fought for years and years, but you sort of felt, you could see that he felt bad defeating Walt. Like he almost didn't want to. And both fighters were very respectful, and it's just sort of a thing. You just went out there, you lost, and and they celebrated together, and Overeem definitely let Walt have his moment. So we'll see, and hats off to Walt, or Alistair Overeem, and picking up the victory, and wishing well and recovery for Walt Harris. But yeah, that wraps up the UFC. There really isn't another UFC fight night. There's things talked about. There's Fight Island, Dana White keeps talking about, where he's simply rented out a Fight Island to come to. We'll see where that one goes. But yeah, I'll probably have to talk about more, because there hasn't been anything announced currently, and we'll have to see where that goes. But yeah, let's see, getting to the end of the episode here, question that I sort of wanted to leave with you guys is, I put a list of questions together. They're just some of the most goofy questions, and I want to leave you with this, and I'll give you my answer as well. My question of the week is, what are your pro tips for ensuring that you get your money's worth at the buffet each and every time? So if you go to a buffet, what do you do? Are you not eating for the day? Are you serving yourself so you can go ham through the line? Go repeat yourself through the line? Is there certain things that you're taking advantage of? Matt, when was the last? Have you even been to a buffet recently? Are you going to a buffet? I feel like buffets were very popular in like the early 90s or midnight, especially through the 90s and maybe the early 2000s, but not so much anymore, I would say. I don't really see. Most of the time when you say buffet, you get a lot of, oh, you're going to the buffet, or you just get a lot of weird looks. But yeah, I would say that my pro tips are finding the things that taste the best, and then going there, and then for sure getting ice cream. Let's see, the most recent buffet that I went to is sort of an Asian buffet. I don't know your Winston, but it's this sort of higher end buffet, and they have all of this other food, and they have a teriyaki chicken, not my favorite though, But they do have pot stickers, and I mean, pot stickers are pretty much pre-made, especially for buffet. So all they gotta do is really deep fry them. But they have one of the best sauces there too. But the pot stickers, one of my favorites. And they have a bunch of other food, not my favorite, but they do have a sushi line. And I know that you're especially wincing now that they have a sushi line. But the asterisk here is that they actually make it fresh there. And how I know that is they actually have sushi chefs behind pretty much the entire line making sushi and putting it out there, pretty much making it ready to order and not just like leaving it out there to be picked up. So when I get their money's worth, I am a big fan of sushi, and will go through that sushi line a bunch of times and make sure I get my money's worth. But I try to find, and I know that sushi ain't cheap, and I'll definitely get my belly's worth. And I might get a few ice cream cones afterwards too, So what are your tips? What are your tips for making sure ensuring that you get your money's worth at the buffet each and every time? Is there a certain favorite food that you go through and you just indulge yourself into? Or is there a certain tactic that you run through? So what are you doing? But yeah, let's see. In the episode, we talked some COD news. We talked about, our workout plans, video game news, Valorant coming June 2nd, Red Dead 2 and Civ 6 free on their respective stores, Epic Store and Xbox Store. We went over the H3 versus Keemstar drama and just kind of what that means and sort of attacking sponsors and should that be a thing and is it setting a dangerous precedent? And then we recapped the UFC fights and unfortunately there's no future UFC fights. Some big news that I did at least this week. We uploaded episode 1 I uploaded episode 1 up onto YouTube now, so you can find it there. I'll continue to upload to SoundCloud, uploading to YouTube as well. So episode 1 is live there too, and I think I just checked and episode 2 just went live. So I will get this and organize this together, and then you'll see episode 3 live on YouTube and SoundCloud later, probably tomorrow. And I'll announce there. So make sure to follow at my Twitter page at Sparrow933 for updates about All Things Nothing podcasts. And like and subscribe over at my YouTube page as well, at Sparrow933 as well for the All Things Nothing podcast episodes. And then make sure to follow up on SoundCloud as well. And I think it's also Sparrow933 on my SoundCloud as well. That's where I'll continue to upload the podcast so you can get the fresh episodes. I know that this one ran a little bit longer, but I did run this one a little bit more organized and had a few more news stories that I wanted to cover, especially this week, especially with it being so long since my last episode. I hope you enjoy, and I hope that you follow and like, and hopefully I can get this up on Spotify, the iTunes store here soon. If you have any tips or tricks, or if you know things, hit me up about how I can expedite that process. Let me know. Just at me at Sparrow933 on Twitter. That's kind of like where my main hub is and where I go from there, or on YouTube as well. And I'll follow up from there. But yeah, hit me up with a question. What's you guys' favorite buffet money making tips? And I will see you guys later. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a great week. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.